What's going on, Bulls Nation, and welcome into the CHGO Bulls Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download their app. Be sure to use that promo code CHGO when you sign up. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. My guy's Big Dave. Bow. BAWL Sports. Will the GOAT. Will_Gottlieb, and our palette producer, Joey Uncle Spathis, at Joey Spathis. We are CHGO Bulls. We're going to talk a lot of Coby White today, gentlemen.
A lot.
But before we get into Coby White, Monster Spray. Joey, the people need to understand.
Right, fine.
I never understood.
Just curious.
Never understood.
Are there any of you out there, you know?
It started with me being creeped out by that thing over to Big Dave's left. Whatever the hell that
Adorable face,
cylindrical,
cushy,
flurby
move.
thing is.
Yes.
I don't like it. I told him it couldn't be on this table between me and Dave. It creeps me out.
It's got a good weight to it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's squishy and it's nice. It's cool.
And
man.
it scared you.
Yeah.
And I talked about
It's going to
when
murder me in
I
my sleep.
was a young child, easily frightened, had trouble sleeping. My parents went to, I don't know what store it was. Somewhere
Spencer's
I don't
Gifts.
know. I don't know what it was. I don't know what.
Basement.
You know what? I don't know if it was a store, if it was some, like apothecary, guy mixing potions in his basement.
Yes.
But they came home with a bottle of Monster Spray.
It was Friar Lawrence.
Yes, exactly. You take I got that reference. You take the spray, you spray it. For me, it was in my closet. A lot of people under their bed. I don't really know where else, but that for me it was in my closet. You spray it. Monsters, I don't know if it's poisonous to them, if they don't like the smell, but keeps them away. And so that was I don't know if it was a big part of my life, but I definitely was excited when I got that.
Was this a nightly thing here?
See, I don't ever remember it being like, oh, I can't sleep if I don't have my spray.
Yeah.
But, I think it was just like
Maybe
a nice security thing, just knowing it was there if I needed it.
If you sensed a vibe, maybe you heard something.
Right.
Like, definitely. Just preemptive Monster Spray.
Yeah, one spritz in there. Yeah.
Did you keep it next to you? Like, where did you keep this?
I don't remember, but
Okay.
I think I have like a big, chest of like books and like toys and stuff, and I just was on my shelf, maybe right next to the bed. So if I'm sleeping and a monster's like,
You made like a holster on your
Exactly.
your headboard.
yeah, it was loaded up and ready to go.
Oh my god!
See, I feel like I know Joey a little bit better today.
Oh man!
Those details from childhood that somehow stick into your brain.
Very frightened, anxious child.
No horror.
I
movies.
hate scary movies. Still, will not no
You wanna play a
interest
game?
at all. hate that.
I love scary movies, especially when it's good plot. Like
I don't mind
enjoy
scary
it, man.
movies. That
Yeah.
thing creeps the F out of me.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
It is.
Until you fall asleep. There's a
See, now we wanna
blood-sucking
talk about-
demon.
No, yeah. What's
It
happened?
is
What
very
happened?
like good material.
Yeah, it's well
Squishy
made.
and it's like memory foam.
Seriously, man, it is well made.
It's like
and
extra
it's
firm
wonderful.
memory foam.
There you go. Goat phone, baby.
Carlos said, it's the off season when Joey is talking about Monster Spray. Y'all don't even know. This is a part of one of the many reasons why I was so excited to get the off season. So he spent the first 5 to 10 minutes of every episode talking about God knows
Just
what.
randomness and watch it go off the rails.
Yeah.
And we'll still be professional.
The
entire
CHGO
time.
Bulls off-season pod, presented by Monster Spray.
A couple of years ago during the pandemic, you had the big race going on. Everybody in the world is trying to, get this vaccine. They couldn't do it. I'm like, let's call the guys that made the Monster Spray. They were able to figure it out. We can't get a vaccine for COVID.
Yeah.
We got
Oh, my
Monster Spray.
goodness.
I don't think they call it Monster Spray anymore. I think they call it ivermectin. I think that's what that is.
There's a do-it-yourself monster spray. I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like taking on a thing with kids. I'm sure that my
Water?
parents probably saw it somewhere and were decided to.
Okay, water, witch hazel, and lavender essential oil.
What the F is witch hazel?
Witch
old
hazel,
school, man.
witch
That's
hazel is
old
like
school.
what when you go to the barber and they shave you with the
Yes,
straight razor
correct,
and
yeah.
they put some witch hazel on you. Yeah,
It's old
monsters-
school. It's
that
like
actually
with
makes
castor
sense.
Oil, man. It's back in the day.
Monsters are very deterred by the scent of witch
Great
hazel,
way to
so it
calm
makes sense.
kids' fears at night. Another great way. Shut up and go to sleep.
Big Dave ever has kids, he's just gonna feed them 2 spoonfuls of Robitussin before bedtime every night.
I'm not going to drug
Sweet
the kids.
dreams.
First of all, that's a waste of money. I'm not getting him that. Go to bed, all right? We got time for this. I don't have time for this, man. Go to sleep, all right? Or drink some no-dose or, melatonin. Melatonin might work.
I use melatonin some nights if my mind is restless.
That works. Use melatonin, go. You do it?
Yeah.
Go use melatonin. Let's go to prove.
Of course.
You know whose mind's probably not restless right now?
Who's this?
Coby White's.
Well done.
Because dude's about to get paid.
Getting paid over here.
We touched on some comments from Zach, DeMar, and Vooch, the Bulls' big three, on yesterday's show. Go back and give that a listen if you haven't yet. We wanted to talk a little bit more in-depth about what we heard from Coby White in his exit interview Saturday today, because he is maybe one of the biggest puzzle pieces that we don't know about coming into this offseason. Are the Bulls going to pay up to keep him? And if so, what will that role be? So let's start with the simplest question that was tossed towards Coby at the beginning of his exit interview on Saturday when you were sitting there, Will. When basically it was, what's your frame of mind coming into this offseason, and would you like to stay with the Bulls? Coby's response was thus, Joseph, quote, it's new for me being a restricted free agent. I hope it works out for the best. I love Chicago, love my teammates, love the front office, so I would like to be back. But a lot of that's out of my control. It's a business at the end of the day, and I understand decisions have to be made. So if I'm back, great, but if I'm not, you got to live with it, end quote. That could have been written by ChatGPT basketball player. That was cookie cutter response to a free agent entering their offseason who's been around for a few seasons with fill in the blank team, might re-sign with fill in the blank team or leave.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I laughed when I saw that response because I was like, that's an AI response.
Yeah, it's a guy who's ready for this journey of teams wanting him. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it's going to be. Like, Coby will be sought after. That is going to be a thing. It is just going to come down to, I don't even think it's, and you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, Will. For me, I don't know if it's going to come down to so much the money as it is the opportunity. Because he seems like he wants to be a guy. He said it a million times, I want to start. This is what I want to do in the NBA. So if he finds a team that is willing to pay him close to what he wants, but still give him all the rope in the world to be a starting point guard or shooting guard, whatever guard he wants to be in the NBA, that's something I think that will intrigue him. Now, the Bulls definitely have a shot because, again, like he said, he loves it here. It's what he knows. You know what I mean? Like, he's comfortable. His friends are here. Patrick Williams, who is super close to him, he's here. Like, all that matters. I always feel like comfort matters in these situations, and he's got comfort here. And he's come such a long way, too, because I remember Coby was never on anybody's mind of we should keep him. It was, hey, he's getting ready to go. Right. When does Coby get to leave? We're not paying him any kind of money.
It was like, can they play him enough to up his trade value?
Exactly.
That's what we were thinking in the beginning of the season.
Always the piece for probably about the past 2 years. Coby's been the piece before the season, during the season, after the season is who we've talked about. So kudos to him for getting to this level, and he showed enough, I think, to wet the whistle of a lot of teams out there, including the Bulls. It should be interesting to see.
Yeah, and look, I mean, at the end of the day, he is restricted, so the Bulls have rights to match whatever offer he does go out there and get. But I think that the Bulls are going to operate fairly similarly to the way they operated with Lauri Markkanen, which was go find yourself a deal, and we'll either match it or figure out a sign and trade. But like the goal for Arturas and his front office is going to be what is the most advantageous thing that we can do for our group. And I think we can all agree, like, ideally Coby's back. We've seen a lot of growth from him. He kind of bet on himself and won in the sense that he played a lot better this year. He established himself as being a player that's not just super dependent on hot shooting, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to overpay him. And I think letting the market set his value is the smart thing to do. I think the Bulls will ultimately bring him back. And maybe we can look at like what teams might have cap space and who might be interested. Mm-hmm. But role is obviously going to be a big one. Money is obviously going to be a big one. But I think ultimately the Bulls probably have the best combination of those two things, where it's the ability to pay him and give him a big role, maybe not necessarily starting, but just give him, like, what was he playing this year? 25, 28 minutes a game? Like, that's a lot of minutes.
And then towards the end of the season, he was playing 30-plus off the bench some nights.
And, he was a big fixture of the rotation and of the lineup, and I don't see that changing. regardless of how much the Bulls give him. But I think the more he grows, the more he'll establish himself in that rotation.
True indeed.
And he was kind of asked that too on Saturday, saying, will that be a part of your conversation, your negotiation with the Bulls brass when you come to sit down this summer of wanting to be a starter? Because Coby was vocal about that throughout the season and said, I'm happy to play any role that is asked of me on this team right now. But yes, I see myself as a starter in this league, and I still want to be a starter in this league. And maybe that's something that he'll prioritize. Like I think, as you said, Will, he certainly played his way betting on himself into more money with the way he performed this season. But then, I mean, if, as far as like his priorities, well, do I want more money? Do I want a guaranteed starting spot? Starters typically tend to make more money than bench players anyway. So it's like it could be a situation where he gets both. It's just if he gets both of those things and wants the guaranteed start, maybe it's with the Bulls, maybe it's not. Or if it's the money that's, crucial, maybe it's the Bulls, maybe it's not.
Yeah, and that's why I keep bringing up the idea of him starting, because Coby just doesn't strike me as somebody who is driven by money. He strikes me as somebody who's driven by just the desire to play and be really good at basketball. Yeah. Nothing I've seen about just how he carries himself or how he speaks or anything like that is like, give me all kinds of money. Of course, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong about all this. But he's just a guy who wants that opportunity to get out there and to play. And he's had it since he got here as far as opportunity to start, since he walked here to be on the Bulls. And, of course, I thought this opportunity should have came much earlier than it did in his rookie year. But when it came, he started balling, and then the world blew up. And then, he got an opportunity again, and we just saw, him grow little by little. And then it was, maybe we think you're better off the bench. And he showed he was comfortable, off the bench. And he did some great things coming from there. But this year, he kind of showed like, wait a minute. You dribbling now. Like, there's some handles here now. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're creating now. Oh, man, you're making moves inside now. Like, those one-on-ones he was doing later in the season were impressive. Like, honestly, he was doing moves I had never seen an NBA player do before. I had to show it to you, Will. But he was doing stuff I had never really seen a guard do. And that's – when you're doing shit like that, I'm like, now I got to take that into consideration if you should be starting for the team or not. Yeah,
and I think we talked about it a little bit. I'm not to say that, like, I don't think he should be a starter. I don't think he can be like full-on point guard. But he kind of said this in his, in his availability, which was that he views himself as a guard. He's been plugged into the off-ball, spark plug, bench guy role. He's been plugged into the be a facilitator role, and he admitted that didn't really fit him. So I'm not like in any rush to say, go be Chris Paul, go be Mike Conley, that kind of floor general, because I don't think that's part of his DNA. I think he's gotten a lot better at it, and I think he can improve more, but I still view him as more of a combo guard, and I think he kind of said the same. And I think there's room for that in a starting lineup where you have a DeMar DeRozan and a Zach LaVine who kind of operate as co-point guards. Mm-hmm. But if you're just asking him to be like the primary floor general, I'm not quite there with it. And again, I think he has gotten a lot better at it. The way he's like using pick and roll, getting his guy on his hip, making the right read, that stuff, I think that goes a long way and he'll get better at that. But, and again, that's also not to say that I don't think he can start, because I think with the right group around him, he absolutely can. But I think that will affect how he gets paid. Like backup six-men type of guys who are just like your Jordan Clarksons or your Lou Williams. Those guys get paid in a certain range. Guys who are backup point guards like Tyus Jones get paid in a certain range. True. And so he'll fall into one of those categories. And also, he has the benefit of being younger and being able to grow into that role. Mm-hmm. So I think that's also something that he'll have to factor in.
Let me ask a question. Actually, I want to start with you, Matt, on this one. Mm-hmm. Does it give you pause about letting him go, seeing the success that other Bulls players who were here have had? And, we're talking Lowry, Wendell. Right. You could throw Chris Dunn in there. Like, just seeing their success, does it give you pause about wanting to let him go?
Well, of course it does. And it's funny you asked that, because in the comments, Renewable and Rechargeable Review said if Coby leaves, he'll be an all-star. If he stays, he'll be forever mid. I don't know if it's necessarily that, written in stone that those will be the outcomes. If he stays here, he'll be a good but not great bench guard. versus or maybe given another opportunity later in his career to start later as opposed to like when he was a rookie.
Right.
Or he goes somewhere else, blossoms into an all-star caliber player. I don't think it's necessarily one or the other. Depends on a lot of context around what it is if he stays and if he goes. But yeah, it does give me pause because we've seen it happen. We've also seen it not happen. I can't tell you how many times I guffaw to myself when I see Bulls fans on Twitter crying about not having Wendell anymore. And I'm like, show me the star player that you see in Wendell Carter Jr., because I still don't see it. I see an undersized center who's not skilled enough offensively to be a dominant power forward who can't catch a basketball. Like what? No. Sometimes they move on and they just stay mid. Lowry found the right situation. Also worth pointing out, Lowry moved on and then moved on again before finding the right situation and blossoming into an all-star.
Very true. Chris Dunn as well. He had multiple times of moving on. No. I didn't say star. I just said he had multiple times of moving on.
Okay, right. Okay.
That's all. Calm down.
I was about to throw my laptop
calm
and
down.
walk off the set.
Calm down.
I thought you were about to anoint Chris Dunn an all-star because of like a few performances on multiple 10-day contracts.
Not at all, man.
On a tanking Jazz team.
Not at all, sir. That's not where I was going with that. Woo! How about you? How about you?
I mean, I think it's also depends on like how you get rid of him or what the circumstances are. Like if they let him walk for nothing and he turns into an all-star, that obviously looks bad.
Right.
If you trade him and turn him into, like you talk about Wendell, and obviously like the trade for Wendell I think was pretty lopsided. We can all agree. But if it was just, or the trade for Vooch, which included Wendell.
Right.
But if it was just like Wendell and Otto Porter, no picks involved, I don't think anybody feels bad about that trade. And I think Wendell's a good player, but if you cash him in, it's different than, like cashing in your chips is different than letting him walk for nothing because you're capped out.
Yeah.
So I do think that would make a difference. But just because a guy left the Bulls does not mean that he's going to turn into a player. Just because the Bulls keep a guy doesn't mean that he's not going to be. I think we've all seen growth. We all know that growth is not linear. And I think Coby can get a lot better, but I'm also not going to like say he's going to get, you know, a $25 million a year offer from the Spurs and the Bulls are going to say, see ya, and he's going to all of a sudden be an all-star next year.
Yeah. I think I'm on the side. It does make you give me pause. No, I think I'd be lying if I said it didn't. Of course, I'll be like, oh, man, I don't. But at the same time, like you said, Will, if he gets that contract, you know what I mean, like that big one, you know, I'm like, man, more power to you. You know, I won't feel as bad of him leaving and becoming that. I'm like, well, there's no way they were going to pay him that, you know, and I'll be okay of him, you know, being that star. But if it's an offer I think the Bulls can match and he leaves and then becomes something like that, then I'm like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could have had that. You know, there could have been a situation like that. And it's kind of like, you know, when you're dating someone that breaks up with you and then, you know, gets married. It was a movie like that. Your boy Dane Cook was in a movie like that.
Good luck, Chuck.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
With Jessica Alba,
me in real life, by the way. But
yes, you in real life. Okay, all right. he would date a girl, Will, and the girl after she would break up with him would meet someone and it would become her husband. Like that was his like superpower.
He was the one before the one.
Correct.
He was cursed. Every single girl he met.
Every single, and then he met like Jessica Alba. And, you know, he didn't want to, you know, date her because he didn't want her to leave and stuff like that. So, you know, spend some time on that movie if you want. But I don't want the Bulls to be that. I don't want them to be good luck, Chuck, you know what I'm saying, for another player, you know, to leave and you know, become great.
Yeah, and I think it's also different to, like, look at the way we think about Lowry right now, which is, I mean, obviously, I think most Bulls fans would say if Lowry was still on the team, they'd be excited about it. But I also think it's fair to say he had been kind of written off.
Yeah.
And, like, it wasn't going to happen.
It wasn't going to happen here. Yeah.
They moved on from him. They got Derrick Jones Jr. and a first-round pick as a result. I don't think anybody's, like, feeling the way that, like, they might about, you know, Franz Wagner and Wendell and whoever the Magic take with the 11th pick this year. That one hurts a little bit more because it was like a lost trade as opposed to moving on and the guy just happened to blossom later on.
Yeah, I like the way you presented that as far as Wendell, because I think that's a great way to say it. is it's not the player, it was the picks. Because if the player turns out to be great and better, okay, great. But now you've given them a safety valve, in case he didn't.
Right.
They still had 2 opportunities to make up for that. Whereas if he did turn out okay, then you made it even bigger. So, no, I feel you on that point.
I mean, on top of that, you also prevent yourself from being able to make the next move. You need picks to make the next move.
The facts go facts.
All right, we got to take our first break here. Then we'll come back, continue talking about Coby. There's another Coby quote from Saturday that I thought was very interesting. It kind of goes along with what you were saying a few minutes ago, Will, as far as how he views himself and what kind of guard he sees himself as, and potentially maybe being put in the Bulls starting lineup. And then also some thoughts from his head coach, Billy Donovan, that he offered about Coby and the potential for what his role could become in the future from Billy on Saturday. So we'll do all of that, and then we'll come also with some thoughts on these playoff matchups thus far to round out the show. While we're sharing these words from our friends and sponsors, do us a quick and easy favor.
What's that?
Hit that thumbs up button if you're watching along with us on YouTube or catching the replay on YouTube. Either way, hit that like button. It's easy.
This one.
And we appreciate it a lot because it helps us out a lot. Make sure, of course, you're also subscribed to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel.
Yeah.
29.1K and climbing.
Ooh, on the way to 30.
Woo!
Hey.
Joseph,
Yes, Matt.
between our show wrapping yesterday and coming to the studio today, did you have the ComEd talk with your little baby nephew?
No, it's a day 6 talk. We're on day 5. Yesterday was day 4. So
He's right. It's a day
we
6
will
talk.
reassess
Right.
tomorrow. But I do want to tell you about this very important sponsor that we have in today's episode, which is brought to you by Monster Spray. No, can you imagine? Today's episode, it is
I believe
brought
Monster
to you.
Spray is a subsidiary of ComEd.
Don't worry. I've already got the Monster Spray blank graphic going, so
Lord.
we're just going to wait to
He's
see what
on
we
it.
can put that on. But here's, seriously, so the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, it's committed to helping families and businesses in the communities that they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now, but also into the future.
That's right, my good man Joe. ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial and industrial and public sector customers of all sizes across their territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, and industrial processes.
Matt, please tell Big Dave and Will how it works.
Well, I can explain it to you real simple, and then you can relay this right on to your nephew. An authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours.
2 hours.
Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project cost, potential incentives, and simple payback plans. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy, both of them, today. For energy-saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
So I do need a facility assessment. I should go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
You should. That's powering biz with a B-I-Z at the end. ComEd.com/poweringbiz. Schedule yours today.
It's so
You all right
ridiculous.
over there?
Yeah, because it's so ridiculous that it's just funny, man. Because it's like y'all got a script, y'all worked it out, and it's like, oh, this is a bad script.
We don't have a script.
But
We're just
I know. I said it just sounds like it. It is hilarious,
our
man.
chemistry is just
You
off the
guys make me
charts.
laugh very, very much. I enjoy it very much. And I could be sitting here watching this on my Fubo TV if I wanted to.
Oh.
That's how you do it right there.
Fubo.
Fubo! Not a Fubu, but a Fubo. The Fubo TV, y'all. Sit back, relax, count your stacks, and chill on out and get you some Fubo TV. I know what you're saying. Well, it ain't just sports that I'm into, Dave. I like shows. I like movies. I like news. 140 live channels, sports shows, movies, and news. Well, I don't want to watch it from my phone. I don't want to be at home all the time. I got stuff to do. Stream it from any TV, from any device that you want to do it. You can do it, y'all. Well, I like Chicago sports. I'm from the city. That's what I do, man. Well, you can watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price out there. I don't know, man. I don't want to pay no money right off. 7-day trial immediately. I don't want to sign nothing. No contract. I don't want to put in no cable. No cable. Well, I don't want to go through nothing. No hassle. Just sign up and start watching. Or if I'm in the course of my show, $1,000 of cloud DVR. No extra charge. And before you even say it, watch your local teams while you're traveling. And you can watch that NFL draft, y'all. Oh, you can watch that NHL draft. Oh, you can watch the playoffs from the NHL and the NBA. And I know before you even say it, Cubs and White Sox. You can watch them on the Marquee Network and NBC Sports Chicago.
Bada boom.
Shout out Kevin Anderson.
Hey,
so watch those Chicago Bulls on the Marquee Network. Watch the Chicago Cubs. That's where you do that at. And the NBC Sports Chicago is where you watch Chicago White Sox. And you do all that with Fubo TV, y'all. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Because Fubo TV, watch it.
Watch it now.
Watch out now.
What was that line you had about sitting back, relax, count stacks or something in there?
Yeah.
Did you just come up with that just now, or is that like a riff that like has been long existing?
I'm sure somebody else has said it, but it's just what popped into my brain.
Sounded great.
Appreciate that.
Sounded like it was just fresh out of a song.
Yeah, it just popped in my head, man. A lot of stuff rumbling around up there.
Man, your brain is crazy.
Rumbling.
I like
that's
you.
what it does. We'll rumbling
Rumbling
around.
and tumbling.
But you're
Rumbling,
crazy.
tumbling. What was this word I heard you? I wish I could remember the word you used earlier because I hadn't heard it before. I got to go back and watch the show.
Today?
Yes.
It was.
What was that word?
It was guffaw.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell? What is this?
It means a loud, boisterous laugh.
Guffaw.
Guffaw. To guffaw at something. Also,
Guffaw.
like usually has a connotation of being in disbelief of something and laughing at it.
I like that. Guffaw sounds like a super
Guffaw.
villain.
Guffaw. Guffaw.
Oh no, it's guffaw. I am guffaw. All right. You like that, Joey? You like that?
Yeah.
Somewhat in the same, thesaurus tree, but on a very opposite branch as Chargan.
Chargan, yeah.
Knew that was coming.
Classics.
I knew that was coming.
It was a classic,
We
Joe.
got Bulls fans in the comments weighing in on all this Coby stuff, which we will pick back up now.
A lot of Bulls fans very supportive of Coby.
Yes, Jack
A lot
Broom
of people want to see him get his
saying
chance.
we got to keep Coby. He stepped up this year. It would be silly to see him leave after all this development. Jella in the comments saying we need to keep Coby of all of our non-stars, in my opinion. JDH saying Coby said he wants to start. On the Bulls, that means point guard, and he knows it. Certainly not starting ahead of Zach. Well, he means point guard. Let him have the spot. He's earned it. So to that end, I want to go back to what you were saying, Will, which is what Coby said Saturday. Sam Smith asked him, how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as more of a point guard, more of a shooting guard? And he said, I see myself as a guard. And he also said that in his opinion, in today's game, there's really not that many quote-unquote traditional point guards anymore.
True.
He said he could play off the ball, on the ball. He said I could do a lot of different things and take pride in being versatile in that aspect. He then went on to talk about the fact that earlier in his Bulls career, he had been playing that traditional point guard role when he came back from his rookie year. And he said this, which I thought was fascinating. I think at one point in my career, I tried to be that traditional point guard, and I struggled.
You did.
Especially my second year. I was the starting point guard. I struggled with that a little bit. Then I think I just looked in the mirror and said, I got to be who I am. And I feel like just being who I am helps the team in a large way. Dave, do you see it working well, and are you in favor of Coby taking that mindset and taking the other starting backcourt spot alongside Zach LaVine, assuming that they're both back next season?
So last year when we were doing our prove-its, and Coby White was one of our prove-its, my main thing for Coby White I wanted to prove was BMFing Coby White.
That's true.
That's what I told him.
I remember
to
that.
Do.
That is absolutely
BMFing
correct.
Coby White. And this is exactly what I mean. Hearing him say that is exactly what I'm talking about. I tried to do something that wasn't me. It didn't work. And I looked in the mirror and said, I should be myself. Yes. And he went out there and he balled. Yes, I love this mindset. This is exactly how he should be thinking right now, especially for a guy who wants to be a starter and make his mark in the league. This is the mindset you have to have. You can't worry about who's in front of you. Can't worry about the position either. What gets me out on the court so I can show you I can perform and belong in this league? That's what you need to do, because he's not that traditional point guard. That's not his skill. He's not a traditional shooting guard. It's not his thing. He's a combo guy. He can do a little bit of both. So what's going to give him the opportunity to do a little bit of both? And on the Bulls, it's going to be at that point guard position because Zach is there. You're not moving that. So, yeah, I love the mindset that he has, Will, right now of, dude, I just need to be myself. Let me do what's best for me and improve those little things like my handle, my vision, my IQ. Let me work on those things so I can get myself out on this floor, man, and show him I'm Coby White.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference between like trying to add and improve on elements of your game without and like stretch your skill set versus like throwing you into the frying pan and just saying like, go be the point guard, Coby.
Right.
And we've seen that. I think that's what he's talking about. We've also seen him run some point guard in the backup units playing next to either one of Zach or DeMar, not necessarily with both of them. And that's where you start to see him stretching those skills, not just in a position where he's like, see if you can't fail. And I think that's good for him. Like, I don't want to just say, all right, Coby, like you had a great season as the backup guard. Now you're going to be starter point guard. Like that's putting him in a different position.
Right.
He succeeded because he was in a position where he could be himself, where he could do the things that he's already good at while still stretching those skill sets. So I don't want to see him deviate from that too much. Like I said, I think he could be a starter and still operate in that same space, but I would not want him to just be like the point guard replacement that I think the Bulls still need, especially if this news about Patrick Beverly saying he wants $13 to $15 million this year.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a Patrick Beverly type. He's not going to be the Lonzo replacement. He has to be Coby, and I think there's room to be a really strong offensive group with him, Zach, and DeMar out there. But I don't think that necessarily solves the point guard situation, although he has improved in those areas.
Dang, that's logical.
Along those same lines, shout out to our friends at C-Red UK in the comments who said, I've been with Big Dave on the Coby train all year. As for him being the starting point guard, not against it, but think he's finally found his role, which is kind of what you were saying, Will. Like, are you messing with a good thing if you ask Coby to change his role and who he is on the court again? Right. Because the Bulls have been repeatedly asking Coby to change his game.
Exactly. And I think by asking him to be starting point guard, that is doing exactly
changing his game. Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right, because him coming off the bench gives him more leeway to do certain things, in that offense. He doesn't have to necessarily come in and be the backup point guard per se. He just come in and be the guard. What do you need right now? You need the passing, you need the shooting, you need the scoring. Whereas in the starting lineup, like you said, it's a set thing, like Dragic, or something. It's a set thing when you bring him in. And Coby, he's an abstract artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just paint, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever comes out. And it works for him that way. So that's a great way to look at it that Will just said, y'all. Because I think that makes a lot of sense.
The value of his game is that he can play on and off ball, right? Yeah. That's what he means by I've got to be me. Like, I've got to look in the mirror and I've got to be me. He can play point guard next to Zach or DeMar. He can operate off the ball next to those guys when they're in their space. But as soon as you start asking him to be like, bring it down and get into the offense and facilitate and do all that stuff, now he's not doing what makes him good. And I think that's when you're setting him up to be in a tough spot. And so I wouldn't want to just like go pay him starting point guard money, because I don't think that's who he is. I also wouldn't necessarily expect him to want backup Jordan Clarkson shooting guard money.
Yeah, true.
So there has to be some middle ground, and I'm curious to see where that number is and what that role they land on is. But that's my hesitation. And again, it's not because I don't think Coby's skilled. We've talked about all year how impressed I've been with him.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take him out of what he does well.
And that's I think is the question. You know what I mean? Like, where is he going to get that opportunity and be comfortable enough to be him? What team is that? And I'm sure we're going to look at those teams.
So before we look at some potential Coby suitors, I did really quickly want to make note of what Billy said when he was asked directly about Coby in Billy's exit interview Saturday. Joe, he said this, as far as, do you see Coby as a potential answer to that point guard spot if Lonzo can't play? Billy said, quote, I've got a lot of confidence in Coby. The growth that he's made from a shortened rookie year to his second year, third year now, it's been pretty impressive. And it's been through the work he's put in. And he's a lot more equipped today to be maybe in that role than he was a few years ago.
Put him come in the fourth.
Right. So, of course, my first thought was how many Bulls fans just yelled at their laptop, phone, TV, whatever, watching that interview saying, then why'd you take him out at the end of the Heat game?
Really?
But, which, shout out to our friend Stefano. He had a great breakdown of those possessions late in the fourth, explaining one hypothetical option as to what it was going wrong and why Billy pulled Coby. But the thing that makes me laugh, and I know as you've expressed before, Will, on our show, Billy can tend to be a bit long-winded at times and use a lot of words to say a few words. But the fact that the word maybe is in there at the end, I was just like, yeah, he's not going to say definitively one way or the other.
Yeah.
He said he's a lot more equipped today. If that sentence didn't have the word maybe in it, he's a lot more equipped today to be in that role than he was a few years ago. But the word maybe snuck in there. And now you're like, oh, well, I don't know how Billy feels.
Yeah. I mean, the maybe was him taking him out in the fourth. That's exactly what magnifies that word right there, is what you said. So, yeah, Billy he had opportunities under Billy when he was starting before. And we saw glimpses, you know what I'm saying, a little bit. And we saw, he's got a little chemistry with Vooch or something like that. You know, it was like, okay, cool, but we still need a point guard. You know what I mean? You still need a guard. And then you went and got Lonzo, and then everybody kind of fell into their role, and Coby looked comfortable.
Coby had 54 starts his second year, 17 last season, 2 this season.
Yeah, and I think it also says, to the point, even when we're saying all this, that Ayo is the one that got the starting spot, you know, to start this season over Coby.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Coby was still there, and Ayo's the one who won it, because it was up for grabs, you know, for anybody to get it, and Ayo is the one who got it. So it could have been a sense of he just didn't feel he was ready, or it could have been a sense of Coby saying, I'm more comfortable coming off this bench. I don't know. But I know now what Coby feels, and that's I need to be a starter, and I want to be a starter in this league. So we'll see what it is right there. But you're right, Matt. That maybe is a huge but that's hanging out there right now from Billy Donovan.
Well, I think also Billy said this, and I agree with it, is it's not just like in a vacuum, is Coby talented enough to start?
Sure.
There's a lot of other considerations, one of which is who complements Zach and DeMar the best. And I think there's an argument based on the way that the season ended that it's Coby. But at the beginning of the year, I think we all agreed that like having that more 3-and-D person that could bring the ball up but then be more of a floor spacer but a primary point of attack defender in Lonzo's absence made a lot more sense, and that's what Ayo's skill set is.
Absolutely right.
So I don't think there was anything wrong with that to start the year, but things change and you have to make adjustments. Obviously, Patrick Beverley came in, and I do think eventually Coby found a role that he was really successful in, but he had like a 180 this year in terms of not just his talent and skill set, but the way that we talk about him, with the way that the Bulls probably view him in terms of giving him a longer contract. Like, he seemed to be the odd man out. And now, based on the way he's played, it's more to me like, how can we factor him in with the group, because he's that talented and he's been that productive.
It's going to be interesting, man.
So perhaps the last piece of the puzzle, and again, you know, we've got a while before free agency happens, but Will, you had a tweet a few days ago just kind of looking at projected salary cap across NBA teams, and it might be interesting to take a look at maybe some of these teams that could be possible suitors and logical landing spots for Coby White. So I see you have it organized with, you know, highest projected cap space to lowest. Ranking starting with the Rockets' most projected cap space. You see the Bulls down there in 14th at projected around 11.5.
So just to clarify, this is based on projected practical cap space. And what that means is if you were to wipe cap holds off of the books, how much space would you have? So this does not accurately reflect how much
that they
money
really
that they actually will have.
Gotcha.
It's just what is the maximum amount of space that they could create.
Okay.
And so it's reflective of who's going to have space, but it's not accurate to necessarily the exact details. But, I mean, if you look at some of these teams, it's young teams that have some options there but are not very good right now. The Rockets, obviously Kevin Porter Jr. has that non-guaranteed deal.
Yeah.
But who knows what they want to do with him. The Magic have Markelle Fultz and Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony and a bunch of guys that are good, not great, but like, is Coby out competing them? Does it make sense for them? The Spurs don't really have anybody. Do they feel like Coby could be the guy.
And there's a huge chance that one of the 3 of those first teams will land.
That's exactly
Scoot Henderson.
That's exactly where I was going next. Is who knows how the draft shakes out and how that affects these things. Jazz, I think, could probably use a point guard. The Pistons have their guys. Thunder probably have their guys. The Hornets have LaMelo. Pacers have Halliburton. So, like, these teams are all set, and I wonder if there is going to be here's your 36-minute a night starting role, Coby. Come play for us. Just based on the teams who have both cap space and their point guard depth.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, that's the most important position. So, of course, a lot of those teams are going to be set. Even bad teams are going to be set at that position. So, usually the teams that aren't set aren't good teams, at that position, like you just pointed out right there. So,
and is that maximizing Coby?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Yeah. Is that going to do it too? And does he want to take the opportunity to go a little lower, to a worse team in a situation he might not be comfortable with because he gets a starting position and a little more money?
And the other thing you can do is look at this in the perspective of Vooch potential landing spots and look at some of these teams and wonder where he might want to go. So that's a separate conversation for a separate day, but not a lot of good competitive teams out there with space.
True.
The teams with space are teams that already have just an entire fleet of young talent who weren't winning a lot of games this season, but have a lot of promise and upside.
Yeah.
All right. Fascinating. Seems like we are open to the idea of giving Coby another chance in that role because of the way he played this season. He seems to have a good approach to it mentally as far as what he did before that wasn't working and trying to force himself to be the kind of point guard that he wasn't, and then went back to just playing like Coby, which is a combo guard and just a guard. Are we also maybe a little bit feeling reservations of it seems like Coby's found a great role. And as Anthony said in the comments, nothing wrong with making money and a living as a sixth man in the NBA. Maybe that's the perfect Coby role.
Maybe.
If the Bulls are in a bind and don't have several better options or don't have one better option, this could be a very logical one, staring them in the face.
Yeah, and someone they know.
Yeah. All right, let's take one more break. We'll come back, wrap up by looking at what's going on in these first-round NBA playoff games so far.
So fun.
NBA playoff. Woo! Playoffs.
Oh, Lord, I forgot.
Woo! Playoffs.
Have you ever heard Matt do this song? Never heard. Oh, Lord.
Pitbull NBA playoffs theme song.
It's
2014.
About to go down.
Lord.
That one?
Yeah, there was a remix of that song that he did with what's her face, the Tinder song, Timber.
Kesha.
Thank you.
Right? Kesha.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. Yeah.
I just couldn't remember the name of it.
Kesha's dope.
Baby Joey never understood. Never got it. Why? In my 5 days on this earth, I've wondered why. Why can't I wear some premium polarized shades that don't cost a lot of money? That's what Baby Joey want to know. Well, Baby Joey is correct. And Shady Rays heard you before you were even on this earth and said, you know what? We got your back. We're going to take care of you. We have got that gear that's built to last. We got you covered for that warm weather ahead. And that premium polarized shades at an affordable price is right here. Shady Rays, y'all. Independent sunglasses company that offers that world-class product that is just as good as any expensive pair of sunglasses that your sexy self has ever put on your wonderful face. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor and indoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers that protection plan that we like to call the Matt, Peck, Lost, and Broken Replacements Plan. Hat on, glasses on. Snap, snap is what just happened with the glasses on the cap. They went snap. What Shady Ray said, we got your back. We gonna hit you with that. New glasses, that's a fact. Woo. Shady Rays is gonna get you no questions asked, y'all, if you break that pair of glasses. And also, Shady Rays says you can exchange that new pair or return them for free. Free. Within 30 days. They got your back on that, y'all. There's no risk when you shop. Once again, that team has your back. So, exclusive for our listeners out there, Shady Rays is giving you the best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use the promo code CHGO for 50% off of 2+ pairs of polarized premium shades. Try it for yourself and join the over 250,000 people that have rated them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. Cinco for Shady Rays. You can get one of them too, y'all. Shady Rays. Well, the Rays are oh so damn shady.
Oh, so damn shady.
So damn shady.
Renee, in the comments, nothing disingenuous about that ad read. We all seriously love these sunglasses.
Yeah, I
This is all facts.
didn't even know what that meant.
I don't know.
You're wearing that.
Renee can be a bit of a grump. Nightcav, I know you, Renee. He's the dude who was talking shit about Sabine during the Outsiders days back in the day.
Yeah, I know Renee
see
well.
you. I know
Renee
you.
well, man. He's a good person.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
He's a good person. Man.
I'm sure. You're far too quick to forgive people.
I just know. I know. We've talked. I know. Renee.
Maybe your guys' ads. Oh no, you didn't do ad reads on Outsiders.
No.
Not.
Well, you did your weird. You did your like half. You're like half
We were
ad
peddling
commercials,
some
like
weird
Built
looking
bars
bar
or something.
snack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, like a
I've
yes.
heard about this. The Built bar or something.
No,
No,
that's
that
locked
was
on.
locked on.
That's locked on. No,
Okay,
no.
so you guys are just known for. You guys are the GOAT nutrition bar.
Wow, we see people saying Rock Auto, do Rock Auto in our comments. Like, hey man, they don't sponsor this show.
Should have been there, Joe, at the time. I put the vocals on.
Yeah, that's the beautiful pipes of Big Dave.
That's what I put the vocals on them, Joe.
Put those next to the beautiful pipes of Stacey King,
Oh,
head to head.
That's high praise.
I'm taking Dave all day.
NBA fans, the playoffs are back. That means big hoops action with the DraftKings Sportsbook app, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Get in on the excitement of every NBA playoff game with the touch of a button. New customers can make a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA game and get $150 in bonus bets if they win with that promo code CHGO when you sign up. Plus, of course, you got the no sweat same game parlays. Put some together. We got 3 games tonight. Pick your game that you feel like you know how it's going to go the best. Throw some bets together into one parlay for boosted odds. And if it doesn't hit, it probably will because you're smart. If it doesn't, though, no worries because you're going to get a bonus bet back up to $10. And being Tuesday, it is our DraftKings pick of the week time. What? Gentlemen, we got Suns Clippers game 2 tonight in the late time slot. Scott Foster is the head official for that game tonight. I don't know if you saw it, but Tom Haberstroh, shout out Habs, had this updated stat in his Twitter feed earlier today. Chris Paul's career playoff record against NBA official Scott Foster now sits at 2-17.
Jeez.
Win-loss record and against the spread record 2-17.
Is that bad?
It's not great. I also saw there's like a parody Scott Foster Twitter account, and it like tweeted out as we were going live today, hey, CP3, good luck tonight. Let the best man win. I mean, how can you go against that?
Yeah.
How can you go against that? Also, it's 13 straight win-loss and 12 straight against the spread. Tonight, and I got money on it earlier today when it was 8.5. The Clippers were getting 8.5.
Wow.
Playing the Suns on the road game 2 tonight.
That's wild.
At -110, Clippers to win outright plus 300. Plus 300.
It's a team with Chris Paul, Booker,
And Chris Paul's got to go against Scott Foster tonight.
Wow.
Now, I checked again when I got to the office today. It had already shifted from 8.5 to 7.5.
Okay.
So they're already like, oh, Scott Foster, and then it's trending the other way. But still, get in while the getting's good. I'd still take it. Yeah. I mean, bet that until it breaks. And it has not broken. CP3, Scott Foster, Suns going down tonight.
Yeah.
And the Clips are getting 8.5. Now 7.5.
Oh, and Kawhi Leonard's pretty good.
He is. Duke and ball. That's your DraftKings pick of the week. Duh. CP3 and Scott Foster. They're giving you money. Don't forget that promo code CHGO when you sign up.
Oh, man. It's only Tuesday. This is the
Come
best.
gamble with me, Dave.
It's hard, man, because you don't bet like I would bet. That's the
Yes.
only issue, man. That's
Yes,
the only
my
issue.
child.
It's the only issue. That'll be like $10. I'll be like, you better add a zero to that. What are we doing? What are we here for? What are we here for?
You got
this money.
You got to warm up for Summer League in Vegas, baby.
Yeah, I go all in. You saw how I gambled. Man, I was just, sure.
They was throwing.
Will saw it.
It was throwing chips around.
Yeah, here.
More chips always came back to him.
This is true. It happened.
All right,
Had a
guys.
great first night, and then it was downhill from there.
So I think most people see some of these first round matchups as being pretty chalky.
Yeah.
Let's start in the East.
Okay.
The one that most assumed was going to be pretty chalky, Bucks Heat, maybe got a little bit more interesting because Giannis leaving game one with that back injury when he took a bad fall.
Yeah.
And the Heat ending up winning that game. Now, what we're hearing is Giannis trending towards playing in game two. Meanwhile, Tyler Hero, who did not play great against the Bulls in that play-in tournament game, but definitely a regular contributor for Miami, out for the foreseeable future with a broken hand that he suffered in game one.
Out of there.
I still like the Bucks to bounce back from an unexpected game one loss and handle that, though. I feel like we're all on the same page there.
I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if the Heat went on and got this win. It would be a huge, colossal win if they do that. But I think that the Bucks are going to come back super angry and a little upset, and they should handle their business.
Kind of reminds me of last year's playoff series with the Bulls, where like the Bucks kind of came out a little slow. They knew, and then they took care of business after.
Play with their food a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I feel most people see the Sixers handling the Nets without too much trouble. Credit to the Nets. They put up a good fight for about 3 quarters last night. I watched most of that game. But the Nets are no longer the Nets.
Yeah.
And, man,
That Embiid
Joel
guy.
Embiid. Holy shnikes.
It's the rumor.
Man, some of the assists I saw Harden slinging last night, too. And, man,
pretty.
some of the buckets Maxey had attacking the rim.
Yeah.
That Sixers team, man.
Yeah, man. When they get cooking.
That second round Celtics Sixers,
yeah, man.
it's going to be off the hook.
It's going to be something.
Speaking of which, nobody sees Trey and the Hawks giving the Celtics anything resembling a real fight, right? I believe they are also on the slate tonight, game 2. Hawks-Celtics tip, 6 o'clock Chicago time.
Yeah, that's over. That's a done deal, man.
So let's get to the one series in the East where we, between the three of us, aren't all on the same page as who's coming out of that matchup, which is Cavs at 4, Knicks at 5.
Okay.
Knicks, in a pretty entertaining game over the weekend, stole game 1 in Cleveland. You have the Knicks winning this series, Dave. Will and I still think the Cavs are taking it.
On the only one? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I think the Knicks will pull this one out. I think it will be a 6-7 game series. But I think the Knicks are deeper. And I think that's really what it boils down to. And I think they have the better coach as well. And like Tibbs, man, like that dude, he can coach. Like it was a coaching performance in game 1. Like honestly, if you sit there and just watch that over again, the coaching that was happening in that was really great. Shout out to Jalen Brunson also, who played wonderfully. RJ Barrett didn't even play great, in that game.
Quickly didn't hit a shot.
Yeah, you're right. Like the players that are usually doing their thing weren't for the Knicks, and they still pulled out this victory. And I really believe it's because of their depth. So I think, I really think the Knicks will get this one. Do I want them to? No. Do I want Cleveland to? No. Like this is the one series I want everybody to lose, but somebody's got to win, and I think it'll be the Knicks on this one.
Yeah, I feel like Cleveland was probably just a little shook in that first game. Like Mobley, Garland. I can't remember if Jared Allen's had playoff experience. I think he may.
With the Nets, right?
Donovan Mitchell does. But for two guys that really drive that, I mean, both sides of the ball, really, they're just like two of their 4 best players, obviously. To never have that sort of experience before, having that first game, maybe a little bit of shock there. Mm-hmm. The Cavs are still the best defense in the league. Yeah. They still have, I would say, the best player and probably 4 of the best 6 players.
Yeah.
And I think once they get settled a little bit, they'll fall back. I think the biggest question is depth, but in a playoff series, like you're riding your starters and maybe your 6, 7, 8 guys, like those rotations shrink. Yeah. And so the best players are going to be on the court a lot more. And like I said, I think the Cavs have more high-end talent. So I don't feel great about it, but I'm still going with the Cavs.
I am also just riding with the Cavs because I agree. I think they are the deeper, more talented team on paper, and they are capable of playing like it. Also, and I don't even really enjoy taking this dig because, I still got a soft spot for Tibbs in my heart. But Tibbs has been known to win game one and then go on to lose that series.
Wow, that is a deal.
It happened more than once.
It happened with the Knicks.
Happened with the Knicks. Happened twice with the Bulls.
Yeah, no, that is very, very great point that you pointed out right there. But yeah, I really just like the way that they're playing. Like they're playing the physicality they play with can match up against that kind of defense. And then it just comes down like it does in playoff basketball to one-on-one.
Yeah.
And Jalen Brunson one-on-one has been awesome.
He has been.
But I think you're right. Like the best player is Donovan Mitchell. So when Donovan Mitchell starts to decide that I'm the best player on the floor, then that's why I think it's going to be a long series. You know what I mean? Like Donovan's going to have that game. Like that's going to happen. And I hope it happens at the Garden. You know what I mean? I really do. I hope it happens there. So, but yeah, man, like honestly, this is one pick I don't care about because, like, I don't care who wins this, honestly. But I just think the Knicks will get it.
All right, so shifting to the West with our remaining time here, Joe, can you bring that up one more time? So Joseph, our graphic maker extraordinaire as well as producer extraordinaire, is making this cool bracket for us so you can see each of our CHGO Abbeys and who we're riding with as we go through the entire NBA
We're gonna clean it up a little bit going forward.
Joey's going to clean it up. This is just, a placeholder for today, which he made brilliantly in a very small amount of time. So
the West.
On the West, you see all three of us are rocking with Denver, who walloped Minnesota in game one. I don't think we see a whole lot of close games in that series.
It's much better.
We all are on different sides in the other three West series.
Nobody's you and Will a couple times. I think 1, 2, 3.
Me and Will have
times.
the same picks in round one across the board.
Dave will not. He goes against the grain?
Yeah. Okay.
I thought I was going against the grain.
Let's quickly touch on Lakers Grizz. I know that you are a big Ja Morant fan, Dave. Good news-ish today. The results of the injury and all the scans and whatever they did, they're calling it a soft tissue bruise on the wrist that he fell on.
Yeah.
Could even play in game two. They're not for sure yet, but worst case averted. I still look at that series and say that Lakers team is healthy. The role players have figured out their roles at this point. If LeBron and AD are both balling,
and that's not even to mention the best player in the series, Austin Reeves.
Best player in the series, Austin Reeves.
It's true. He's doing
next max contract signee, Austin Reeves.
He wants his money.
Provision.
I think the Lakers experience coupled with Ja, even if he's out there not being 110% Ja, which is the special player that he is, I would love to see this series go deep, and it would be cool to see the Grizzlies win it. I don't think they got what it takes if Ja's not all the way healthy.
So the way I see it is between Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson, at least one of, if not both of those guys, are going to be in foul trouble every game because that's just how they play. They don't have Brandon Clark. They don't have Steven Adams.
Steven Adams hurts,
Anthony Davis, LeBron, Jared Vanderbilt. Those guys are going to crush them on the offensive glass. And I think when you are getting beaten up like that, it's harder to run. If Ja's not healthy, it's just game over. But, the Lakers, who would have thought they were the healthier team at this point? But I think that they're just clicking the way that they have put together their roster at the deadline. I think that it's just a really bad matchup for the Grizzlies.
The Lakers, this was my thinking. The Lakers had 1, 2, 3, 5 people in double figures, and only one of them didn't have 20. And that was D'Angelo Russell. He had 19. So I'm like, they're not doing that again. That's just my thought. Like Rudy Hachimura dropping 29 on you. Rudy almost dropping 30, 5 of 6 from 3. I watched that game. The Lakers from the entire second half hit clutch buckets the entire time. Like that's all they did. It was clutch bucket. When the game got close, clutch bucket. When they tried to run away, clutch bucket. And that's why they went on that 12-0 run at the end, because they just couldn't miss the clutch buckets. Everything was clicking for them. I don't see that continuing to happen. Memphis has been too good of a team this season, and they've been too good of a team without Ja Morant in their lineup. They've been handling squads without Ja Morant. I just don't believe that Memphis will go out like that. I just don't believe that. Will I be surprised? No, it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I won't be surprised if they do. But I just don't believe Memphis will go out like that. But, yeah, Steven Adams and Clark. I forgot Clark was out.
Yeah.
So those two dudes being out, damn sure hurts, man, because Tillman is going to get worked.
Yeah.
And you saw it against Davis. Have it like, yay! Davis is like, I'm about to
Grizzlies
kill
front
people.
court is in rough shape.
Yeah, man.
Davis was the best. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. just won Defensive Player of the Year, but Anthony
He did,
Davis
yeah.
was the best defender in Game 1. Like,
But
he looked like vintage. If you're getting that from AD,
Right.
it's just a tough team to beat.
They're just a tough team to beat, man. But, man, like, give it to Jaren Jackson. He had 31. Bane with 22. And everybody, and then John Morant with 18, and nobody else did anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect that from Memphis. That's not Memphis, man.
And they have Tyus Jones, too, who's probably the best
Yeah.
backup point guard in the league. Like,
And he didn't have a great game. Luke Kennard didn't. Luke Kennard was 1 of 4.
it should still be competitive, but
I just don't see
uphill
him
battle.
playing that way.
Shot
again.
like 54% on threes.
I do. I do.
That's insane.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't see this continuing for them.
Real quick before we get out of here, other West series that has people talking, especially after last night, Kings Warriors. Kongs up 2-0,
Kong.
have held serve on home court
Yeah.
against the defending champs. Draymond and Domantas Sabonis, WTF. They both pulled some dirty ass shit.
Both of them.
Back to back
Yes, they
in that
did.
game last night.
Yes, they did.
Domantas, what are you doing wrapping both of your arms around some dude's leg
Like a
while you're lying
chokehold.
on the floor? And then Draymond,
You're
he's
right.
like, oh, you're going to grab my leg?
Exactly. Yeah.
Stamp!
You're right.
Stamp!
And then jump in the air like he
Right.
wasn't really trying to do it. That's what made me even more mad. I didn't know he was there. It was like, dude, it was like a 6-year-old.
But then Draymond said
hated
at the
it.
post-game podium, like, no, I stomped his ass because he grabbed my leg. It was bullshit. And he also said second game, he was grabbed.
Yeah.
He said it was a different player. I can't remember who he said. Monk, who did it in game 1. Shams did tweet a few minutes before we went live here today, no suspension expected to come for Draymond or Sabonis.
So fines.
Maybe fines, and
Yeah.
obviously the fine that coincides with a flagrant foul.
I'm a little surprised at that, honestly. I'm a little surprised that stomping somebody doesn't get you suspended in today's NBA.
I think if you had to
unprovoked, I think it totally would have.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not, in today's NBA, I don't know, man. I've seen guys get suspended for worse than that.
What I do agree with, though,
less than that,
is
excuse me.
either suspend them both for game 3 or suspend neither of them. Because in my opinion, what Sabonis did, and this is coming from someone who's not a huge Draymond Green fan.
Matt Peck?
Well, it's not a huge Draymond Green fan. I don't hate him. I don't hate him as much as some people hate Draymond. He doesn't bother me. He doesn't get under my skin. It's like, dude, I rooted for Dennis Rodman. Draymond, you're a joke. I thought that they were equally dirty, and if one deserved a suspension, they both did. That's what I see.
Yeah, they both were trash. And then Sabonis acting like he'd been shot, laying on the floor, 15 minutes. I'm like, dude, get up, man. What are you doing? So, yeah,
did.
it was ridiculous, but it makes the series more fun.
The
Honestly, it
LeBron
does.
James School of Acting.
Yes.
I've been shot.
Thank you. But it makes it more fun. Both of these games have just been awesome to watch, man. I've just enjoyed both of them.
You're rolling with the Kongs in this one.
I'm rolling with the Kongs, man.
Will and I were discussing over there before we came on and did our show today. Even though they are down 0-2 going back home, Will and I are both still rolling with the Warriors to pull out this series. They got to win either Game 5 or 7
On the
in
road,
Sacramento
right,
to do it, and we know that they've been awful on the road all season. I can't count out the Warriors, who are the champs, until they are dead. Can't do it.
It's their only. That's the difference for me. Is that's their only scenario for me to win this series. Is they've got to win one on the road.
Have to.
No choice. They have to. And as far as the Kongs, though, the Kongs just got to keep playing. You know what I mean? And they
lighting that beam.
lighting that beam,
The
man,
Kong,
smacking it and liking it.
Kong.
Kong.
I love the beat.
a lot of that was what I
Let
was
me see your
thinking.
beam go.
But we were talking about Coby White. It's like I watch Davion Mitchell, and I'm just
I
like,
love Mitchell so much.
I think people just wrote off some of his contributions in the league early on because his offensive game doesn't come that easy to him, and there's just a lot of guys like that. Like, he's still very young, and that's where I was going with Coby, a homegrown player who I could see contributing if the Bulls were ever to be in that situation. But just, it's too early to write some of these guys off. I was super impressed with Mitchell yesterday, and
That
never
corner
wrote Mitchell
three
off,
he hit
man.
was huge.
I remember Mitchell in
Massive.
Summer League, man. I was raving about Donovan Mitchell in Summer League, man.
Off night.
Davion, excuse me, in Summer League.
yeah, I
man.
mean, in the tournament, he was literally like
Yeah.
in people's jerseys for that entire year. But
I thought he fit them perfectly, for what they have. A good compliment to De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. Shout out to our guy B Daddy Fish in the comments. He said, "Off night, best nickname in a while." It is great.
Off night.
Although, Will, what's your nickname for Lofton Jr.? Gen Zebo?
Oh, first of all, no. That's not Will. That's me. You won't
Was
give Will
it?
that credit. No. Don't be
I
doing that.
thought Will's the first
Don't be
person I heard say
colonizing my
that.
stuff. No, that was me, sir.
I don't know who said it, but
I was
Will.
right here, right there. I know who I got it from, and it was my boy on ball, Chris. He's the one who started it. And he was the one who
Where'd
came
Chris
out
get
with
it
it.
from?
Chris got it from Chris. Chris got it from Chris, dude. I told you.
We got to get to the bottom of this.
I've never. That's the first time I heard Jen Zebo, and that's pretty
I will
good.
show you the receipts. I will show the receipts when he came in.
We'll dig up your first Jen Zebo tweet.
Chris is gonna be
We'll
pissed.
have our buddy Chris from Foul on Bulls do the same.
He's
Go
gonna be
check the U19s a couple years ago.
The date stamps on Twitter.
The U19s.
Will has the receipts.
France versus
I'll tell Chris to get his
USA.
receipts.
Kenneth Lofton giving Wembanyama buckets.
Oh, yeah.
Kenneth Lofton was moving guys like a bulldozer out. He was the USA's offense. With
Dude, didn't he have 30 or something that last game?
Yeah. He
he's a
balled
monster.
out.
No, he had-
towards the end
I
of
think he had 40.
his regular
Yes.
season. All right, that's it. We are
first
out
of
of time.
Special nickname.
What do
Can
you
I
know?
just say that?
Another
July
off-season show
6,
where we
2022.
Come on with them receipts, Will.
easily
July
filled
6,
it out.
2022.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to tell Chris to pull his.
There we go.
We gonna
We
do
got
this.
Will's receipts.
I like
Now
this.
we got to
All
find
right. I like
Chris's.
this.
Goat's not backing down.
And he shouldn't back down, sir. He said it's his.
We will circle back to this, just like we will circle back to these first-round playoff predictions, and we'll keep going throughout these NBA playoffs, making our predictions for each rounds as they come. Enjoy watching some NBA basketball tonight. Go make some bets. Go make some fun bets. Go make some smart bets. Do it at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code CHGO if you're a new customer signing up for the first time. This has been the CHGO Bulls Pod, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you all for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up button before you head out of here. Joey Spathis is at Joey Spathis, a.k.a. Joey 1K, a.k.a. Joey Uncles. Will the Goat,
Joey
Will
Uncles.
_ Gottlieb. Big Dave Bow. BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls _ Peck. We are CHGO _ Bulls. Keep it locked here, right here.
I call it
CHGO
Willie
Sports
10K?
YouTube channel. Sox playing a doubleheader today.
10K? Can I do
First
that?
of 2 Sox shows coming up when that
away.
first game wraps.
Five
We got, we got so much stuff coming
away.
on in the world of baseball.
What? Dang, yo, did you know this?
What?
How close he was to 10K?
Oh, very close.
Oh, flex.
I thought you said I'm going to call you Willie 10K.
Yeah,
And
because I
said-
knew you were close. I didn't know you were like
I
5.
said
Oh, he
4.
is
I need
creeping
4 more
up
for
on
you.
it.
Wow.
Look at that.
4
But-
away for 10K for this man right here.
Follow that man.
4 away.
I mean,
4.
Joey got to 1K first. Just got to say it.
Correct.
I lost that bet. I lost that one.
Thanks for watching
Glad I
CHGO Bulls. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, 4 o'clock Chicago time. Until then, see you, Rob. Be good.
Peace.